Okay, so Cat Burns finally released a song in which it is titled. It is titled People Pleaser. And Cat Burns has made amazing tracks, and this track was released in October 7th, 2022. And so I know I'm a tad bit late on talking about this song. I know I am extremely late talking about it. And so with that being said, I'm going to try to get right into this conversation, and we're going to see how, and have some fun with it, and just talk about a conversation that should have been had about people pleasers. Okay. However, before we get into that conversation about people pleasers and this song, there's a thing that I do kind of want to mention. The thing is, it's about the people pleaser complex, or the trait of a person that wants to avoid conflict or situation, even if it makes them an entirely different person, is the psychological understanding of a people pleaser. But in normal day, that's not exactly what a people pleaser is. But Cat Burns has maybe said before, so when I talk about people pleaser, this should be a fun thing to talk about. And you're gonna kind of hear my perspective on people pleasers and stuff like that. So we're gonna have a deep conversation about people pleasers, the roles that they face in society. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about people pleasers, the thing they faces in society, and then we're gonna talk about this song, of course. But I'm going to add like my own tidbits and bits about the context of this song and why I think this song is so important. It's so important to talk about. Real quick, let's see if we have any sponsors. We'll get right into it.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Okay, so Cat Burns' idea of the people pleaser, she says that she hates confrontation, and it makes her very uncomfortable, which to some extent does if, as a recovering people pleaser, and I say recovering because at some point in my life I was, I had the concept of I had to please people, so there are things I could say and things I couldn't say about certain things. And so I think this is also why the song hits very deep for me. It's because you look at it from a context of this could have been me, this could have been anybody, right? Because this could be people in their teenagers, but this also can be older people that have decided that they must be people pleasers to either keep the peace, which is normally why people become people pleasers. But there's another point she makes in here that I really do want to talk about. There's another two verses in here that she talks about that I do want to draw attention to. But I do think talking about the entire song first and then bringing up my two major points about this song is kind of more important, because I have a lot of stuff about these two parts, these two verses that I do want to kind of go into detail with and make sure I don't bore anybody. So, firstly, she says, my brain keeps going hazy and it keeps racing with thoughts of how I'm going to keep the peace and communication. She says communication. Communication isn't the best, which she says makes it worse. Communication makes it worse. I wish I could say something to make you feel better. She says that it was learned at a young age and put their wants and needs on the back burner. She says put wants and needs behind each other. And you want me to help you fix the situation. Sometimes you just want, just kind of want to talk about the situation. But my need is kind of the one to fix you, which is a weird thing, but it happens so often in society. And I think that's why I said I needed to talk about that, because that is a very much a situation that a lot of people go through. She says I put my comfort behind everyone else's, which I think is true. And then the next line is, I can't explain this feeling if you've never been through it, right? So, this is the thing. And so I'm gonna refer to myself as a recovering people pleaser because at one point I was a people pleaser. So this song kind of hits very well for me. So the two verses that I want to really look at in deeper context is, she says, we learn this at a young age, and then the second one is, I can't explain the emotions or the feelings unless you've been through it, and people that have been through it will understand it. So I'm gonna try my best to kind of hit on both these points. So the first point I do want to make is that people don't realize it, but over time, right? Some people learn this as kids, some people learn this as teenagers, some people don't experience it at all. But there are certain things where you're like, I have to tote this line. Like, this is things I might feel this way, but I cannot say it because it'll make somebody upset, or this isn't very well expected, and I can't say anything about it, even though if I feel like that whole thing of respect your elders. You can respect your elders, but there are things that you're like, that might come off as offensive if I say this to somebody. They might be offended that I say that, and it might cause situations in our family or in our friendships, right? And so there's a line where you're like, what I'm gonna say was what they want to hear, not necessarily what they need to hear, but what they want to hear. Because if I tote this line either for financial, just to be a sound like a supportive person, you end up taking that and you end up toting that line. And people can argue that if you tote that line, that's the best way to do it, because then you don't have to worry about people, and you don't have to worry about sounding terrible or different or that. And to some extent I get that, right? I get that concept, but that's not always the best concept to teach somebody, especially at a young age. So that's why when she says we learn it at a young age, you learn it in your teenage years, your children, you learn it in childhood, you learn it before you truly understand the whole context of what is needed in your childhood and what's considered a healthy childhood. That is what people focused on now, because mental health wasn't focused much on before. Like in the past 10 years, it wasn't really focused on that much. So when she says we learned it at a young age, that is incredibly true from a person that was a people pleaser at some point. The other point I want to make is, she says she can't explain it to you if you've never been through it. And this is the thing, and this is how I always refer to it. If people don't understand what toting the line feels like, this is the best way to explain it without the best way to try to explain it without like she said, without trying to just watch the way I say things, not to offend anybody or piss anybody off. And that's not the point of the show. It's not for me to piss anybody off, and it's not to make somebody feel a certain way or make somebody feel uncomfortable, right? That's not the point of this show. The point of this show is to talk about music, the impact, the meaning behind it. But she says, I can't explain it to you if you've never been through it. And the best way I can say it is, if you've ever been in an argument with somebody and you've held your tongue and you've been like, I'm going to hold my tongue so that I'm going to hold my tongue in this argument so that they think they won, right? And I'm not saying that everyone does this, but there are situations where you're in arguments with friends, family, and you're like, I'm just gonna hold my tongue. I'm gonna agree with what they say because I can't hold my tongue. But at the same time, when you leave that argument, you are furious with yourself because you feel like you're not being heard. No one wants to pay attention to you. People don't necessarily want to listen to what you. People don't want to listen to what you have to say. So for me, this happens a lot. It happened a lot, and it was solely because I have a weird way of looking at things. So it would happen, right? And so my first instinct was, hey, you know what? Just agree with them. Make sure that you don't speak your mind and your tongue. You know, your wants and your needs. You can get that later on in your life. You can get that after they get whatever they get through. You can do that. You can get that later. But in recent years, I've figured, I got to put myself first. Like, once the needs that anything I wanted as a anything I want and need, I've been able to go, I'm going to get that for myself because that's what I need. I need this to therapy or something. Whatever I need, I'm putting myself first. So this right here is me talking to people pleasers or people that are on the offensive line of being people pleasers. I would say this. Now you can listen to this song. I think the song is a good way of getting that message out there of how people pleasers feel. And Kat Burns has an amazing vocal voice, and that's not me down talking her, but it is the truth. Her voice is amazing. But to current people pleasers, or people that are people pleasers but they're trying to find a way out, this is my message to you. If you are a people pleaser, you're probably like, yeah, I've struggled with trying to speak myself and trying to make sure I'm heard by people. I'm gonna tell you this because it's a sad thing to say, and this isn't gonna come off as gentle, and I think that's my problem. I've tried to be I try to be gentle in everything I say, and I try not to I try not to be gentle, but it's Life Jennings' song, and when I say Life Jennings' song is powerful to me, it's because it is. Music is powerful to me no matter what. But Life Jennings once said, "They won't care about you till you're gone." And if you keep trying to people please for somebody or a group of people, they'll never want to hear your voice or your opinion, or your honest, or your voice or your true opinion, or they'll never actually want to help you and try to get your needs and wants. Now I know that that's not the mindset you're probably at now, but there is a mindset where you have to kind of put yourself first, because if you don't, there aren't a lot of people that are like, hey, you know what, we should listen to this guy because this guy's always had our back. They might not always have yours. And that's why I'm saying that if you are that kind of person that's like, hey, well, I have to people please for this and that, I would ask you, do you think you could do it long term? Because a lot of people that are people pleasers end up getting burned out or get treated wrong, and they're like, yeah, you become a cold-hearted person, or people assume you to become a cold-hearted person. And to some extent, I just, like, for me, it was a rude awakening. What happened to me happened because I was trying to people please everybody, and I learned in the long run that's not possible. Now, I'm not very opinionated, but I there are things that I hold, like core values and stuff like that I hold very close to me. So there were just things I couldn't hold my tongue on, and I realized I couldn't be a people pleaser. There's going to be something, if you're a people pleaser, that takes you over the edge, and you're just like, yeah, I can't hold my tongue anymore. I'm gonna have to speak my opinion. But now I get it. Not everyone's in that situation where they're financially or able to say what they want to say, but I would try to find somebody you can talk to. You can even reach out to this show, and I will keep everything private. My emails are, my Instagrams, I think my Twitter is in the description, but or my email. You can reach out to me, and we can have a full conversation about like trying to people please for people and how to get around that situation. But like, at some point you're gonna burn yourself out, and I do hope that this song, I'm gonna end it here, but this song right here is an 8 out of 10 for me because it's perfect. The message is great, and it's refreshing to hear it, even though I am a few months late. But it is something that I kind of do enjoy. Like, I enjoy creating it, so it's not like I hate it and I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't have created it. No, I genuinely enjoy creating it, and it's something that I do think in the long run was something I needed. Right, I needed that wake up experience to realize and to give this kind of message, because a couple years down the road, earlier down the road, I think I couldn't get this message because I was still trying to people please people, and you can't people please people for too long because you then become burned out. And so when Kat Burns released this song, People Pleaser, it just sat right into my soul. So it's an 8 out of 10 for me, and I hope you enjoy this episode.